Hi everyone, I'm Mohan
I'm Deepak.
and we are going to talk about our design patterns relevant in mobile development, or as we would like to call, how we made our mobile apps solid. So yeah, software development is definitely not a Jenga game. As you add more and more features to your mobile application, it should get sturdier and stronger. It shouldn't break down and crash. Essentially, your mobile app should always have killer features. It should never be a feature killer. So in a sense, your mobile app should be solid. And that brings me to the solid principles. Now, some of you may know the solid design principles, and I could go into each one of them and sort of describe them and give you examples. But today, we would like to concentrate on this. How does this help me as a mobile developer? So let's take a look. So enabling complex layouts and sizes. Before we get into this, I'd like to show you a standard layout template that we use. So it's like a simple page layout, and it might contain a container, which in turn contains a lot of items. So this is pretty simple. But as a typical developer, what if you're supposed to develop something like this? So here, you see that we are targeting like various different devices, and we have lots of different types of layouts, and it gets fairly complex. So as a typical mobile developer, you will create a class that ends up looking like this. So this one class has a lot of responsibilities, and it gets fairly complex, and you won't even have the flashy suit or the Rolex. So do we have a solution for this? Yes, we do. So that is what I would like to call as a renderer. A renderer is a class, and it is used for rendering only a particular part of the layout. Now, if you remember the template that I just mentioned, we can easily split into like 3 renderers. So we have a page renderer that is only focused on rendering the page, whereas the container renderer renders only the containers, and so forth. But how do we know which one to use? So we have a solution for that too, and that is the renderer locator. So what it does is it stores a list of the renderers that is available for the mobile application to use. And when you want a required renderer, you just ask the renderer locator for it, and it fetches you from the list. So what we have done here is that we have split the responsibility into various renderer classes, and they only have a single responsibility now to render only a particular part of the layout. So that makes things more simple. And this is an example of the single responsibility principle, one of the solid design principles. So I'll hand over to Deepak now.
Thank you. Yeah, the second advantage of using solid principles in mobile app development is it adds flexibility and ease of app maintenance to your mobile apps. So what do I mean by this? Let's look at an example wherein you have a video content application with different kind of program types, saying movies or TV series or something else. So as a developer, so you should handle the touch events, and when user taps on movie, you should take it to the movie details, and if it is TV series, you should take it to the TV series details, which has a different kind of UI or something like that. So the simple solution that one can think of is to have a if check and just check based on the program type. If the program type is movie, you make it the application go to the movie details, and if it is TV show, you make it go to the TV show details, something like that. So this is one solution. So let's look at what is wrong with this solution. First, it is not a good flexible way of supporting new program types. So when you have this many, if conditions to check, so you could break up, whatever features you have, you can break that feature, existing feature. Second, it is difficult to maintain the different kind of navigation logic. So when a programmer initially codes, so he would know what is happening inside the code. But when you have like 20 different program types, you will not even know what is happening inside that code, and that makes it more complex. And third, every if else that you write, it kind of breaks the unit testing code that you have. So when the new program types keep on getting added, so you will have to redo most of the things, which might break the existing functionality. And you might end up with your code looking like this, with lots of if else in if else, so it looks like an ifception, and you'll go crazy with that. And in our team, we hate a lot of ifs. So this is the problem. So one solution to solve this could be to have something called routers. A router is a program protocol or an interface which has a specific functionalities. It has just two functions. It says one, I can handle the particular type of program, and the second, it navigates to that program. So the implementation of this for iOS could be, you could have a lot of different routers like movie router, TV show router or something like that, and have one class with a list of all these routers and just handle the navigation logic there. So when user taps on something, just check which of this router handles particular program type and just navigate it to that detail screen of that. So this is one solution. So let's see how this is better. First, it separates the consent properly. So each router has a specific functionality. So it handles specific program types. It makes the code more neater. Second, it is very flexible. When you have like 20 more different program types coming in, you just need to create 20 different routers which just implements these two functions and add it to that array, and your application will just work. And we don't need to modify the existing same class, which could break the existing functionalities. And this is an open-close principle. So each you can keep on adding more and more routers, which makes it open, and it is closed for modification. Each router that you have, it is closed for modification, so that when you add new type of router, it will not break the existing functionality. So this is one example of using open-close principle in mobile application development. I'll hand it over to Mohan to summarize.
So that's just two of the solid principles that we'll be covering in this talk to leave you craving for more. But you have already seen like what are the advantages of using these solid design principles here. Now I would like to summarize by giving you some advantages that we have seen firsthand in Accedo during our daily mobile app development. Reusability. So when I mentioned that we can have a lot of renderer classes that renders particular parts of the layout, we also found that when we have to add a new complex layout, we can reuse some of the same renderer classes. So that makes our coding time faster. So it's easy to maintain. So we notice that when we have some bugs in certain parts of the UI, we know exactly which renderer class to go into and fix it. So in the beginning, when we decided to incorporate, like to take a look at solid design principles, we also thought that maybe it would cause unnecessary overhead, or maybe it won't just work. But it seems to work fine. It made our lives easier. Yeah, faster deployment. As I noticed, we can reuse some of the same classes. It's easy to fix bugs and etc. So when we deploy apps, it was faster to deploy the apps to the customers. In essence, we became more productive. So the next time you work on your next killer mobile application, we definitely recommend you take a look at solid design principles first. Thank you.
Thank you.